Welcome back to Charlie Brown Politics. I am your host, Charles Brown. For those of you that are new to the channel, we cover the presidential race here and the presidential election, but we do it through the eyes of the working class and the poor. So if you're into that, please hit that subscribe button. Today's topic is going to be one of my favorite candidates, and that is RFK Jr. He did a interview on Jason Whitlock's podcast or show. Go check out the whole thing. It's a great interview. But today I want to look at one specific point and subject that they talk about, and that is going to be the destruction of our purple mountains majesty, the Appalachian Mountains. For those of you who do not know, we are literally blowing the tops off of these mountains. And as you can imagine, a lot of dust gets kicked up in the air and lands all over the land, in the streams. People breathe it in, the animals breathe it in, and this dust is not good for you. It is toxic. So let's let RFK give us a little bit more of an explanation on what is going on, shall we?
And the cheapest methods happen to be the cleanest. And that's always true if you force these companies to internalize their costs. But, you know, the more important issue is that we're cutting down the Appalachian. You know, Vivek said we got to dig more coal. Does he know what that means? Does he know what that means to the people of Appalachia? Appalachia now, you know, they're exploding hundreds of tons of ammonium nitrate explosive every week in Appalachia. Every day. It's the equivalent of a Hiroshima bomb once a week. They're blowing the tops off the mountains to get at the coal seams beneath. They have these giant machines that cost $500 million called Draglines and can be operated by a tiny crew of men.
And that tiny group of men is usually not unionized, and it's usually out of state, so it's not the people from the actual community profiting off of the resources of the land, right?
That can obliterate an entire ridgeline. So they've cut down the 500 biggest mountains in Appalachia. This is our Purple Mountains Majesty. These are the regions, the landscapes where Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett roam. They're the richest ecosystems in North America. The Appalachians, they have 86 different dominant tree species in their forests compared to 3 in Vermont or, you know, other areas of the world and other areas in North America. And we're obliterating this entire mountain ridge. We've already flattened an area of the Appalachian larger than the state of Delaware. We've buried 2,200 miles of rivers and streams. You fly over that and you'll be sick to your stomach. And I spend time with the people who live there. Their wells are poisoned. Their water is poisoned. They have no hope for any kind of economic resurgence. And virtually all the money is being taken out to Wall Street, to BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. That's who's making money from coal in this country. Oh, and then they burn the coal, and it precipitates mercury out of that geology. And that mercury ends up in our fish. Every freshwater fish in our country, and I know you like fishing, but every freshwater fish in our country has now got toxic levels of mercury in its flesh. We're living in a science fiction nightmare.
All right, let's pause it there. Can you believe everything that RFK just brought up? Okay, the toxic fumes and dust that's getting into the air and the water, how the fact that it's not the local people that are making the money off of the resources of the land, okay? They're the ones that have to pay these heavy costs of cancer and illnesses and the effects on their environments, okay? But while some fat cat is on a yacht somewhere living it up, not having to deal with black lung, not having to deal with a daily grind of getting your hands in the dirt. Okay, he's a paper pusher. Or she, whatever. So good on RFK for seeing this through the eyes of the working class and the poor. Okay? And he talks more about, you know, clean energy and all other things in this interview. Go check it out. The whole interview is pretty great. But let's read an article that's going to talk more about the destruction of these Appalachian Mountains, all right? So there you go. It's from Salon. there's a picture of what the mountaintops look like now. Alright. On Earth Day this year, as President Biden assembled world leaders to a climate summit to focus on a clean energy future, retired coal miner Chuck Nelson hunkered down in the green hills of West Virginia, recovering from a recent stroke and with one remaining kidney, as thousands of tons of explosives from mountaintop removal strip mining operations detonate nearby with a toxic haze of coal dust. Now, what did we say before, okay? It's the local people that always have to pay these costs, and 9 times out of 10, the local people are communities of minorities, right? The indigenous, black and brown communities. These are always the places where these toxic wastes get dumped, it seems like. Sorry, we'll continue. Alright. While coal mining has decreased dramatically in recent years, state permits for reckless mountaintop removal operations by absentee corporations, meaning people not locally owned, right? Alright. By absentee corporations, which involve only small numbers of non-union heavy equipment operations and explosives, in contrast to labor-intensive underground mines, continue to be doled out in central Appalachia in a desperate attempt to shake down the region for a final coal tattoo. Now, let's go back to where it said non-union. RFK in the video said a lot of these things are being operated by a small group of people, so you want to bring that argument of it's bringing a whole bunch of jobs to the communities. Okay, you can bring that argument, but it is not true in this case. And let's think about the true costs that these people that do have to go to, let's say it did bring jobs, right? Let's think about the true costs that the workers have to pay. It's not the owners of these companies that have to have black lung and cancer. No, it's the people with their hands in the ground. Alright, let's continue. In fact, the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection celebrated Earth Day by rubber stamping a new strip mining permit for an out-of-state coal company slated to destroy 1,085 acres of forested ridges and wreak havoc for neighboring communities for the next 8 years, despite decades of protests by local citizens and reams of shocking health studies on heightened cancer, heart, and birth defect rates associated with mountaintop mining dust, or mountaintop removal mining dust. So you guys get the point. This is just the tip of the mountain to say on the pollution, the destruction that is happening all throughout North America and the world, right? We all know the horrible shit that goes on. So good for RFK for bringing up this specific point. I do not hear a lot of politicians bringing up the environment. We got our boy Cornell that will be on board with this as well. But obviously RFK has a little bit more experience in this realm because he's been suing companies like Monsanto, DuPont, and doing it successfully his whole career, his whole life. So good for him for looking at this through the lens of working class and through poor people. I've had my critiques of RFK. I will still be voting for him in the primary, even though the Democrats are going to screw him over. Doesn't, it is what it is, but he's still bringing up these super important issues. I have my critiques of him. I will voice them. But good for him on this. Credit to him. So that's going to wrap up the video, guys. What are your thoughts on this? What did you like? What did you not like? Can you believe how much destruction is happening to our Purple Mountain's majesty? Yeah, so with that, like, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next episode of Charlie Brown Politics. Later.